This is going to lead into a buggy choke.
I actually never do this.
Yeah.
I forget how it goes.
This elbow goes into this knee pit. And then you would hold
some weird shit like
this foot down with this foot. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's doing it right. Like, it's not super comfortable. But like getting out of this is really a pain in the ass. And like, because my elbow is stuck and my arm is stuck, I can't really do it. So if his arm ever gets to that side of my body, I always need to adjust, which is why a lot of the time you're seeing guys now like cup that hip rather than going into full side control here, like keeping that elbow on the inside. So as soon as that leg tries to come up, my arm is here to make sure that I can push away from it. Something similar for this guy. As we're here, I need to get my knee into his hip on my side. Doesn't matter if it's my right or left. If I'm all the way this deep, it has to be my left because just getting my right in is really hard. So I'm just going to put my hands down to get my base up, switch my knees in, and I'm just driving my knee into his hip and pulling my head out. And now I can just basically hold on here in inside control. As he's bucking and moving, I get to, exactly, just keep my feet planted and hold his leg. Me holding his leg, make sure that he doesn't have as much oomph to give, because it's just one-legged now, and it's a lot easier to control it this way, and just keep driving into him a little bit. So, both the buggy choke and the triangle have very similar defenses in just like blocking his hips here. So first one is make sure that you're not just resting here, because this can happen. You want to be active, especially if this arm is on this side of the head. Always be cautious of it. And if he starts to lock it up, this arm on the outside, right?
Is it this way?
Isn't it?
I don't know. I don't do this choke.
Okay. Does anyone do the buggy choke?
Someone showed it to me once. I was like, this is bullshit. I would never.
Wait.
I was doing this here. Oh.
And here.
I need to be deeper. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. I have seen this before. Oh my god.
Right. But like, I'm not getting out of this.
Why?
And
I'm armbarring myself.
And as soon as this leg gets like locked into that triangle, this is really hard to get out of. However, if this leg on this side, this leg isn't locked up yet, like I can step over, like I can pull him into me and step over into half guard, and now as he tries to close it up, I mean, he can't. Yeah. So stepping yourself back into half guard is a reasonable way to stop the buggy choke from happening. He's gonna have to let go, or you can just like start prying his face away from yours. Or, that's more of a late escape. Early escape, you recognize it's on this side, and you pull everything in. Second one is for the triangle. Ideally, I'm not getting this deep, but if I am, I'm taking my head side leg, putting it into his hips, with a full driving myself out. In an ideal world, as soon as I feel him start taking that arm and pushing it down in, like I'm here. If my knee is into his hip, I don't even have to really be knee on belly that much, but if my knee is into his hip, he can't bring that leg up and over, so it just kind of kills the move here, and it gets me to more where I want to be. Questions on those two?
I will say, in terms of early stage defenses, Kenny always tells us just put your head up here, or
Yes.
hide it in their head. Just don't let it like float somewhere in the middle.
Always true. Yes, and an ideal, like sometimes it doesn't help. Maybe he's caught my arm and I'm driving my head up here. He's going to like push my head down.
Well,
Yeah.
again, like this is not my move, it's more Kenny's move, but what he does here is he hides his head against his hip and just won't let the leg pass.
All good things.
But yes,
All
in case
very
all
good.
this happens.
All very good things. Like if I can, yes. If I can cross face you and keep my head up here so that he can't get his leg to me and I can get my arm out, great. Or I can hide my head. But the hip is generally always where I'm going for. simply on my own reasoning, is if I'm here and I'm here, it's no longer an issue where my head is, and it's no longer an issue where he's pushing me. Does changing your head position work? 100%, absolutely. Please play around with it. But you still have to move and get out of that bad situation. And so take your time, build up to that knee, put it on the hip, extract your arm. Other questions? A good addition. Cool. All right. Feel the buggy choke. Feel like get your guy to keep moving it. Yep. Make sure just like where your head is in space as opposed to their limbs, and give it a go. Give it a shot. See what happens.
Position. So how I'm dealing with this is the same way as I would deal with it from half guard as well. I'm just bringing my hand inside, ass grip, and then flaring my elbow.
Bring my head in.
And then I can re-secure it. So really, it's here. I'm just bringing my elbow in, still being protective of his body, still not wanting to be launched off, but just folding my hand in, S grip, flare your elbow,
Move that head to the inside.
and we're here. Then from here, anything you want to do, whether it's go into mount, start taking the arm, step over the head, all good things. Jacob's particular brand of hatred involves pushing this arm down and getting over so that we're here. And then what he'll go for is often this Kimura. He's not giving up a whole lot of pressure. He's just kind of here and here. If this arm is out of the way and I still can't reach it, I can just leave it. And then I'm just going to windshield wiper my legs slightly so I'm still over his leg, but I can step over, slide back, and then be here. And ideally, I just want to sit on his head, essentially. If I can close the triangle here, I will, but sometimes that's hard enough to do. So I'll just be here. And now this arm is all by its lonesome. I can just go for my Kimura. Oftentimes people will straighten it, and then I'll catch it right here. I'll let go enough so that he will, as we're pushing it out, he straightens, and I just stop. And I just motorcycle my wrists. I get my wrist underneath his elbow, I get my hand on his wrist, and I just motorcycle as I press down, right there. So here, I'm drawing back. And if I can, bring my hand back. I don't want to bring it wide. I don't want to give him things to push off of or give him a Americana or whatever. I'm just bringing back, stapling down, and then stepping over. From here, just switch the feet, bring my foot up, slide it all the way back. Now I'm just sitting on his head. If I can, if he lifts that back arm up, I'll like grab the triangle, but if not, I'll just be here. And I'm just staying down and close, getting that hand. Going for my Kimura. This almost always happens. He'll straighten it out. I'm just going to press down with my wrists and get it. You can also just go for here. It's a little bit less secure if I don't have that arm because I need to crank it up, so I just need to pull it down. This can also work for just my Kimuras, whether I get here. And this particular place, like, be wary of buggy chokes from anyone who likes to do them, because we've just given them exactly what they're looking for. But I can get my head in, over, and I'm looking for my Kimuras. And sit in inside control and start looking for my Kimuras. If the arm's all the way up here, I'm not worrying about it. I'm just taking mount. When he doesn't want me to have mount, he'll generally like keep his arm somewhere close that I can just get to it without having to reach back. Questions? Give it a shot. The phone, hand back to that elbow, and slide in. My goal is to keep this elbow off the floor. Oftentimes, his goal is to get this elbow onto the ground. Whoever wins that fight kind of wins a lot of this position here. So for me, it's always making sure I get up into that arm, pit, that shoulder, and keeping this elbow up. From here, a couple things I can do, lots of things I can do. One is I'll just reach back. I'm gonna tilt my body just a little bit up this way to get my hip off the floor and get a little bit more flexibility. Right now, I don't have a whole lot of flexibility to grab his wrist, but as I push down and get my hips up, I can capture and then come right back down. Now I have Keylock. Oftentimes, like if I back up, he can back up with me, and I can't get my hips to turn over to get it. So I'm just gonna put my hand down next to his face. I'm gonna back my hips up, and then I'm just going to push my hips forward. Some people have really effeminate shoulders, and they're very flexible. Some of us have very stiff shoulders, and we will tap
Stiff
a lot.
manly shoulders.
Stiff manly shoulders. So we will tap a lot sooner. The younger your opponent is, generally, like the more they'll just like let it keep going. Like it's gross. So sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you won't. If you have a person with really flexible joints, don't go for joint locks. That's just a general idea. So here, I reach up and I'm pushing down, but I can't make all this happen. So I need to get my hips up off the ground ever so slightly to be able to get that. I'm putting my hand down next to his head so he just can't follow me, and moving back. But let's just say I can't step up. He's not letting that happen. He's pushing his hand away from my legs, so I can't get it. I can just step over, go to grab, and I'm just now holding it up. From this position, I'm just going back to scarf, holding my leg back, and getting really deep underneath that shoulder. This is where I want to be. If you have any fights coming up, you can just start smacking the person. You can also just push their head to the other side, step over, and now we do have that arm bar, Kimura and everything else set up. That
On this arm?
Yeah, on this arm. So it's a different way to get into this triangle. And it's just a little bit easier to do it. It just takes more steps. And sometimes he's not super cooperative with this arm. So which is why we generally, we'll just push it down and be here, because this is generally getting a little bit easier rather than getting all the way into this position. And then people will oftentimes know what's coming up and really try and keep their shoulders down, their head down. Yeah, it's just hard to make it work sometimes. And then this leads to everything else. If I do just want to capture this arm, I can come back, I can bring him up, and step over. Now, whether I want to finish the Kimura, whether I want to continue into my triangle, this is always an option. So lots of things can follow that salivary position in general. Questions on that?
Can you go over the arm, the first one?
Yes. So we're here. I'm just going to switch position and get to here. I'm reaching up, but I'm not reaching back. Yeah, exactly. I'm reaching up for it, but if I can't get it, I can just reset my position, and now this elbow is really generally kind of stuck in a good position for me. Exactly. So it's going to take him a moment to get out, whereas I get to do other stuff. So I'm not selling out position to get it, but sometimes it is just here. He's trying to fuck with me a little bit.
Because I'll be trying to pull this out, right? Like I don't want to be all the way up
Right.
here because I'm gonna be like doing this stuff, and now
Now it's here. I bridge up a little bit, just get my bottom hip off the floor, and I'm here. Here, and I'm just backing up as I turn my hips over. If I can't get it to work and he's like pushing out, I just step over and I'm reaching back for it, just pulling it up like a tail. Right here. And then I just switch, like scissoring my legs, and he'll tell you it's holding his shoulders up, which allows me so much more to step over and get into the position we were just in. Just a little bit deeper, a little bit, it's longer, but it's a little bit easier. Questions? All right, grab buddy. Driving my shoulder into his chin. I'm sitting to inside control, and then I'm going to mount straight from here. Whether like I can just tap and step, whether I have to feed my leg across. This is my happy place. This is always where I'm trying to get to with everything that I do. I don't want to be here. This leaves so many other bad options for me. And oftentimes, like, he'll get here, and since no gi is my favorite part of gi, like, I can't really stay here, and so I'll have to transition to north-south. But we'll get into that next week. But yes, if he wins this kind of inside battle, and I'm here, like nothing here works for me. So as soon as he gets this position, I'm not casually like going for this and here. As soon as he gets this, I'm switching my arm position. My head is diving to his shoulder, to his hip, and I'm kind of in this north-south position. And I'm driving into his hips so that he can't just bounce me off. We'll get into that next week. Any questions about what we did today? Cool. Water, mouthpieces.